If you aren't using samples in your music and your production, then you need to level up. This is what this beat sounds like before and after a sample. This is before. I mean, that's amateur, right? Let's listen to it now with a sample complete. Right, all right. So you get the point. That's when you use a sample, it can really change everything. So how did I do that? Let's get into it. First thing that I did is I found me a sample. I went to YouTube for this sample. And this is the sample's BPM and key. But I went to YouTube, I typed in soul sample, and I just clicked on this track here. It actually gave me like a mix of stuff. You can go through here, like let's say here's one right here. Today we say the same old. Right? So
life's better when you're
no ad. You can go ahead and find yourself a sample that way. You can go to BandLab, you can go to Splice, find yourself a sample any way you want to. That's how you do it. So I went ahead and found myself a sample, then I downloaded it, YouTube to MP3, and here's the sample here. Right? So now I need to figure out what part of the sample I want to use. And also, am I starting with the sample? Am I starting with drums? In this case, I started with drums. Actually, I was making a different beat. And then I switched out the beat that I was making for the one with the sample. So let's just go ahead and take a listen to what I have going on with just the drums. Let's solo this. So I had these drums before I used the sample at all. Right? That was before the sample. And go ahead and mute all this so that we don't get this back in the beat. And we're going to hide this. That's the previous melody that we had. It sucks. Amateur. We're not going to use that. All right. So now that we have our beat and we got the BPM of the sample, 121, the key is F major. Important to know. All right. I'm going to figure out what part of the sample I want. So I'm just going to listen to the sample. And to save you time, I'm going to jump ahead here. Now, I realized that for myself, I wanted that first 4 bars. Sounds like this. Right, that's the first 4 bars. And then I also figured that I wanted where this guitar kind of comes in. So right there, so I'm going to cut it right there. Then I'm going to take the next 4 bars. Right? And then this section here, I'm going to go ahead and take the next 8 bars. Right? Cool. And then for myself, this isn't a necessary, but I go ahead and label things. So I'm going to say sample A. And then this is going to be my B portion, sample B, or section B. And actually here, let's do it that way. Section A, this will be section B. And then this will be, and let's go ahead and cut that. And this will be my chorus, which actually, I obviously already made the beat, as you can see there. This ended up being my chorus, and then this ended up being my section B. So that's actually how it goes. I'm going to create 3 tracks with this information. Then I can move those there. All right, now That's the instrumentation of the sample. Now we need some vocals. So I'm gonna go ahead and listen. And find me some vocals. Now for this beat, what I wanted to do is I wanted a sample to like a vocal melody or run or just her scatting or whatever. I wanted that on a kick, to land on a kick, and then I wanted a sample for a chorus section. So right here, see, got that. So I'm just gonna go ahead and cut that. I'm just gonna cut it like right there. I'm gonna save that. I'm gonna label that vocal A. And then I need one for the chorus. All right, I'm gonna take that. Oops. And then I believe it goes on to there. And it, yeah, cool. So I'm gonna go ahead and label that chorus, vocal sample. Let's label it vocal sample. That for the chorus. Cool. Then I'm gonna delete everything I don't need. And there we go. Don't need that. Cool. So let's go ahead and start by figuring out what we want for the melody. So I'm just going to basically duplicate that. We already have our BPM in, so that's all good. Now I just need to figure out what EQ I want for that. So I have it right here, or not EQ, I meant the what plugins and effects and stuff. I have it here, and it seems like what I'm doing for this is nothing. You might though decide to roll off some lows and highs. However you decide to do it, I decided to keep it as it is. You can have it like that if you wanted to. I like it. I like that whole sound there. If you also want, you can add some tape saturation, you know, kind of make the sample your own. A lot of people, they like want to do a whole bunch of stuff because they want to know that like in their heart, they made it their own. I don't care that much. So we could do that. We could compress it, although I'm not going to. I like the dynamics of it. And then for the chorus section, I took that chorus section and then added this EQ to it, wrote off some lows, added some highs, a little bit of a bump there. Sounds like this. And I'll just use the same effect that I got there. Paste, boom. Cool. And then we got a B section. So this time for like my little bridge section, and like I said, I changed the name of it. So section B. So for this, sounds like this. And I believe it comes in again here. Right? So that's that part. We just went ahead and took the intro, used that instrumentation for the melody throughout the beat. Pretty simple. And then I'm going to show you how I went ahead and used this for the kick. So as you see, this is what it used to sound like. Let's just go ahead and solo that. Oops. Oh, actually, let's go ahead and let's take that that instrument out of there. So what I'm gonna do is highlight that, go to audio. This is in Cubase. Logic and FL can do it as well. If your DAW can't, then maybe you need to step your game up. Unmix vocals. I'm gonna go ahead and do its thing. Hit OK. It's gonna load, and what it's gonna do is it's gonna separate the vocals from the instrumentation. So there you go. We got vocals. We got the instruments. I'm gonna go ahead and mute the vocals. I mean, mute the everything that's not vocals. There we go. We got that by itself. So now what I can do is I can render this down to a separate track and then delete that because that spectral layers will cause some complications for my laptop. Just running that in the background. Cool. So I did that. Go ahead and label it pink. And that's how it became what you see down here, right? So go ahead and delete that because it exists here already. And like I said, I have it hitting on the kick. So here it is right here. And it hits on the kick. And I'm going to show you how I went ahead and mixed that. Right? So first what I did is I turned it down about a dB, sent it to the left. I used some EQ, wrote off lows, wrote off some highs. Then I added a compressor, really killing that compressor, smashing that vocal. And then I added the same tape plugin, different setting, different cassette type. And then some reverb. We got some Valhalla going, 74%, some pre-delay, settings as is. And then I have it sent out to this bus. Where is it at? This chase verb. So this verb is basically chasing, or well, it's not chasing because it's delayed, but running away from the main vocal, I guess you can say. A little bit of lows and highs rolled off. And then we have Space Blender, which is doing all the work. And I use the chase setting. Sounds like this again. And then it's eight beats behind about a little less than half a mix. Texture is pretty granular. Yep, so that's that. And then we have a compressor, micro shift to spread it out some more. And then another compressor, LA2A, pack it all together. And then mix to taste with the fader there. That's what's happening there. And then we have this other sound, which is basically the part that came after that. And I have that mixed exact same way, just on a different track because this one doesn't have the send for that chase verb. So that wouldn't get in the way. And then I also took this part and then I chopped it up to make it sound like this. To hit when those drums hit. As you can see, 2 drums there. Hit right there with that. And yeah, space it out about every 8 bars, I believe. Yeah, every 8 bars. So that goes throughout there. For the main sound, sounds like this. So for the intro, it sounds different between the intro and then the chorus here. For the intro, that's the EQ. I added a lot of tube for saturation. Added some vinyl, isotope vinyl plugin. Have it on the 1980 setting, a little bit of dust, some warp. Vocal doubler. Again from isotope, again free. Then we got it going into a R verb. Some pre-delay, a little bit of size, a little bit of time. Full wet. Then a compressor. And then this Safari Pedals Fox Echo plugin. I think, yeah, I got this for free. If that's still available to get for free, definitely do that. Let's actually throw some width on there. All right, sounds like this. Before and after.
Why there's life and death? Why there's love? Why there's life and death? Why?
Right, and then for the chorus, we have the vocal basically doubled. For the first one, I have the same tube plugin. I have a black valve for some saturation and compression. Then I have a reverb that I might actually take off because I'm not quite liking how bright this is. And then a compressor. That sounds like this.
Why there's life and death. Why there's love and hate.
And then I have one right under that. That one's doing this. I went ahead and pitched it up 3 semitones. And then as far as the plugins, all the same thing, except for now it has no send. So together, those sound like this.
Why there's life, why there's life and death. Why there's love and hate.
Right, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is how I took the beat from how you formerly heard it to this.